I do, and welcome to the Pallet Palace Pompar, otherwise known as Pompar Rides. We're in the Pallet Palace again, and I did a video yesterday about using the MyRoute-app for Android Auto. And the reason why I did that was I've recently fitted the Ayuchi C6 Pro, as everybody who watches the channel knows, and I've designed a bracket. Here's some of the brackets that I've prepared earlier. These are ready to go. I've had quite a few orders for them, so I've got some ready. If anybody wants one, message me and we'll get some sorted. Here's got some waiting to go out. All right, so we've got deliveries waiting to go. So we've got the Ayuchi C6 Pro, which is Android Auto or CarPlay. I don't use an iPhone because primarily I'm not a 14-year-old menstrual girl, so I don't use an iPhone. And I like having the latest technology at the best price, not at the worst price for the last year's technology. But that's a different story. So because I'm an Android user and I've got the Z Fold, I want an app that will replace using my Garmin XT, because I've taken that off and I'm now using the C6 Pro. Now, if it's just normal day-to-day sat-nav from A to B, Google Maps, Waze work perfectly fine. What I'm after is a little bit more than that. And one of the abilities of the Garmin XT was that it could plan your route. So you could just say, I want to go out for a couple of hours, put it in, bang, and it'll plan your route out. You can choose twisties, and it'll sort it all out, and off you pop. So I wanted similar. Now, you can do it with Kalimoto. Most of the common apps that you'd use for doing that, yes, you can do it. However, there's very, very little support at the moment for Android Auto. Kalimoto is CarPlay, Apple CarPlay. I'm not sure about the others. I've just had a quick look around and there's not many that support it. So D-Tech, again, looks like a really good product, premium app, but there's no Android Auto support. One of the very few that do have Android Auto support is the MyRoute-app. So I gave it a go yesterday without going in, changing any of the settings, just installing the app. I've paid my money and away I went. And if anybody watches the video, you'll see I was a little bit, not quite great this, and there was bits where I was out of signal and it was a bit weird, and when it plans the route it was sticking odd bits in. So I thought, right, I'll have a look at the actual app and change some settings. So I'm going to go through them settings now, and then show you some things, and then hopefully I might get out on the bike. Probably not today, but then we'll edit all this together so you can see where I'm going with this. So let's crack on and see what we can change in the actual app itself and some of the things that we can do. Now, bear in mind, I have paid for the navigation monthly subscription. So if you do want to do more with the web app, you have to have a paid subscription, either a silver or a gold. And we'll cover that a little bit in a moment. And I haven't upgraded to that yet, although there is a couple of features that might be useful to me, but I don't know if it's worth paying the €8 a month, I think it is, or you can pay an annual subscription. So let's have a look at the app and see what we can do. Okay, so the first thing we see when we fire up the app is we get this screen. We can see your last route, your activity feed, routes and track logs, library, speaks for itself, and you can even go to the route planner or the route lab. Well, the first thing I want to show you is how you get into the settings to change a few things. So if you click on the icon up here and we scroll down, there's a couple of things that you might want to change. So you can change the travel mode here and choose motorcycle. I prefer the word motorbike, but hey, that's me. You can then change whether you want it to be on metric or Imperial UK or US. Such you can choose. But we've got the ability for offline maps, and you can download an update there. I've set this to the UK one, so you can set offline maps available. One of the things that I didn't have yesterday, and I did lose signal and it was a bit weird. So that's interesting to see how it's going to react to that. You can do the full European maps, or you can just do regions. I think the UK was about 1 gig. So we've got that on. So the input settings we're going to leave alone. The main one that we're going to be looking at here is the navigation settings. And then we've got here, you can, first of all, you can go into the audio. Now you can choose the different voices. So there is loads and loads of voices. It's up to you which one you want to choose. You can go into here and you can see there's lots of different ones in here. If we click play.
Example instruction. Example instruction. Turn. Example instruction. Example instruction. Turn left in 500 meters. Example instruction. Turn left in 500 meters. Example instruction. Turn left in 500 meters.
Let's leave it as that for now. And then you can choose whether you've got your voice prompts of whether they're going to be off or a beep or on. So we're going to leave them on for now. Now, this is the bit that I'm changing. So the number of voice prompts per instruction. I thought it were a bit overkill yesterday, and it was set to 3 by default. So I'm going to change that down to 1 because it tended to be in 900 yards, you're going to be turning left. In 500 yards, turn left. Now turn left. It's down to personal preference, I guess. Most of the time when I ride around, I don't have voice on. I was trying it yesterday for voice to see what it's like, but it's also handy. I do turn voice on if I'm in built-up areas, in strange cities, especially when abroad, and it makes life a lot easier. So I turn voice on then. So I have it set at 1 at the moment, which what I'm guessing that's going to do is as you get to where you're turning left or right or the junction or whatever it may be, then you'll get a voice notification. You will get a visible notification on the screen to tell you you'll be turning left in whatever. But again, that's up to you. Then you've got the waypoint notifications and speed warnings, right? So you can have the speed warnings on as well, if you do so wish. And again, you can choose your voices here. So a couple of other settings in the functional bit. We've got the route calculation. You can have offline navigation. Route calculation, turn by turn instructions calculated without using the internet. We advise using this setting when driving somewhere with a bad internet reception. To use this, it's required to have the region downloaded for offline usage. Now I've just got it doing an update and I'll show you again where you do that. So we've got the automatic recalculations, which tells us enable if you want a new route to be calculated when you deviate from the route. If disabled, you need to drive back to your route manually without instructions. And I think that's possibly what was going on with me yesterday. We've got the traffic aware route calculation, which is on, traffic incidents warning, roadworks warnings, traffic flow warnings, all turned on now. We've also got the route validation, check for route violations. That tells you, choose if the app should warn you about possible violations, such as mandatory toll roads, when you try to avoid them, or warnings about vehicle-specific restrictions with no alternative is present. And then check for track navigation for errors. And then we've got track navigation, navigate routes as tracks. Allows you to drive routes as a track. Choose this when you prefer the accuracy of a track. Works best when online. Viewpoints of the original route will be displayed and used as stops. And then use all waypoints. This setting cannot be changed while navigating. Enable it to show all waypoints rather than only viewpoints. Now, I think one of the problems we've got is when you do a route, it doesn't really do the waypoints, and we'll see that in a moment. So there's some of the features, but there is also a feature on here for the navigation features. Skip waypoints automatically, search for fuel stations along the route, which is on, automatically start track log, which is on, and pause track log automatically, which is now on, stop navigation on destination reached. So we want that turned on, so when you get there, it stops. Okay, so what we're going to do now is try and do an actual route. And what we're going to do for that, if we click on here and we come down to the round trip, which is the most important bit that I'm trying to find from an app, because Waze, Google Maps, all the others will just do a straight A to B for you. And the round trip is one of the features that I wanted. Also, you've got the destination if you wanted to go from A to B, but you might find a twisty route. So these are the two key bits for me. We can go to the round trip, And we can say, right, I want to do 150 miles. I don't know why it jumps up in weird increments, but I'm going to choose 158 miles. And you can see now, as the minute I drag that over, it's automatically took the west as a destination. You can do north, northeast, east, and so on and so forth. So there's the 8 points of the compass that you can do. And it seems to take an age. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit and skip out this, and I'll tell you exactly how long it took. But it does take time. I mean, proper time. For me, that's way too much time, right? It's not instant. I like instant, and this takes minutes. And it's still going as I'm waffling. We'll cut to it as it does at the end. Okay, so it's done that for us, and it takes 3 or 4 minutes, which I know it doesn't sound long, but that's a long time, and especially if you're out and about. For me, I guess it's all right because I can start rolling a cigarette, smoke the cigarette, and it'll have finished by the time I do it. However, I'm still impatient, and it's a bit of a downside to me. One of the other downsides to it is the minute you click on any of these, so if you do the twisty, which I actually forgot to do on the last one I started, and then it finished it, and I realised, oh, I haven't done a twisty route. You click it again, it starts recalculating. Again, if I change the direction that I want to go in, it will start recalculating. If I change the miles, it will start recalculating. It's a bit of a not quite perfect. It's almost as though you could set up all the settings and then click now calculate, whereas it doesn't. It seems to be on the input of any of those. It'll quickly recalculate. So there's its route that it's decided that it's going to take us. You can see what it's avoiding on there. So we've got ferries are turned on, toll roads are turned off, dirt roads turned on, cities turned off, main roads turned off. And it's chosen a twisty route going west from Accrington, and that'll head off over onto there. Now, first thing we can do is we can save that. So we choose save. That's now we can share it. There's our QR link. We could send out to our pals if we were saying, right, this is where I'm going. Do you want to join me on the road? We've also got, we can open the route, because one of the things that it doesn't do on here is it doesn't add waypoints in, and it does some weird stuff. And again, we're going to probably have to open up the web version of the app, because as we can see on here, it does some weird things. So, you know, why does it do that one? It takes me all the way along there to come back to go on there. Now, it may well be that I can't get on that road because it's the Blackpool Road, main road. I get it, but then why take me all the way through there? Why didn't it bring me down here? Yeah, so there's just little bits, but it's also, and again, we've got this one here. I'm going to drive along and it's going to take me to here. Is it saying, oh, that's a point of interest along the way? Not really sure. And you've got to sort of go along the route to look for any of these weird bits where it just seems to veer off. And I can't see any way of cancelling them in the app. But if we've got that done and we want to do it, and again, we've got it up here, so I think that's where it's taken us. Yeah. I'm not sure what it's doing there. Why it's going around that way. Interestingly, the other one it did, it took us across to Sunderland Point, which is a coastal road. And Sambo's Grave, which if you want to check out my previous YouTube, there's a trip of me going along Sunderland Point, which is a tidal road, so you can only go across there at certain times, and I've got the drone doing the full length of it. Check it out. I'll put a link to it here. So we go back, and there we go. It's doing us a twisty route, but again, there's little weird bits where like that. I don't quite understand why it's doing that. and we can go all the way through and follow it around. Now, if we just wanted to navigate on there, it's dead simple. We just click on the navigate button. We click start. And again, you've got to start from the nearest point on the track or use the current location. So you can choose where you're going to start it. We're not going to start that straight away. We can favourite it. We can also see other people's routes on there. If we click on here, we can see somebody's done a Windermere to Bangor run, 170, call it 180 mile, 6 hours. Done by a user called Nick, who's apparently an MRA master. And we can get info of that. And there we go. Nick's put a lot of info and he's put some pictures on there as well. So there's only seems to be a couple nearby for me with Nick, who's done them. But again, you can change this slider at the bottom. And it'll find you other routes around there. These all seem to be by Nick. And you can look for round trip ones. Round trip from Settle to Whitby. Round trip of the Peak District. Round trip of the Yorkshire Dales. Loads of information there. So you can find out other people's stuff and you can set up your friends list and things like that as well. So what we're going to do now though is I want to go and have a look at that now on the web version, because I want to have a look at these waypoints which don't seem to exist in here. So if we now, I've saved that. This is the MRA route planner via the app. And again, we've got waypoints that we can add waypoints. There's no waypoints set on here yet. So that isn't the one that we've just done. This is just to set up a completely new one. I want to go back to the one we did. And I want to be able to edit this one. If we go down to Route Lab, we can generate through here instead of directly in the app. Now I should be able to go to routes and find that one that I've just created. So there's the route that I've just created. Now again, I'm just doing all of this from within inside the app without having to go onto a computer. I've got route information there. Now I'm not sure where we can add waypoints onto this from here. It's just one full route. So I'm now going to skip doing it on the app and see if we can do any more on the web-based version. So here we are on the MyRoute-app website. This is the subscriptions, what you pay. I've already got the MyRoute-app, which I pay for monthly. And it's about £5, I think, if you buy it annually. It's 15 quid a year, but it's about £5 a month. So I'm just trying it out, and if it is worth it, I'll get the for the year. Or you can have the lifetime option. 68 quid. So we don't want that yet. And then you do need the silver or gold. You can play with the basic, But again, if you want it monthly, it's a $5.95, annual 31, lifetime 129. Silver £2.95, annual £8, and a lifetime for silver is 60 quid. I'm not sure what the actual difference is. I've had a quick look and it tells you what you can do and what you can't do. But for now, we're just going to have a look at what we can do inside of here. So I'm logged in. This is me. If we go to my routes, we will see this is the one that I was doing earlier. So we can lock it, copy it, edit it. We're going to have a look at editing it. That's changing the route name. It's currently private and we haven't set a departure time. That's all cool. Let's go into it. So this is the route. You can edit the route and track up here. What do you want to call the route? We're going to keep it that name. Click use. It then gives us the waypoints on there, and we can maybe zoom in and look at some of these and go, right, I don't know why it stuck that one in. So let's just say, for example, we want to get rid of that one. Let's delete that one. And we're going to delete that one. And that one. Now, if I delete that one, yeah, you've got to go along and delete all of these. That gets rid of them. Let's get rid of that one. And we'll get rid of that one. Okay, so there are our waypoints. And I guess you can select individual ones, rename it, put some colour in, find a hotel nearby, delete it. What options have we got? Zoom in. Okay, we've got a note, add a favourite, starting point. We can skip it, or we can add a photo whilst we're there. So you can do a bit more in here. And I guess it's a lot easier for setting up routes. And you can use the waypoints. Then we can save that as whatever we want to. But I'm not sure where you would. Again, gold option, gold option, gold option, gold option. Now, has that saved it and made it any different if we go onto the app? So that's it saved. Now I guess what we need to do is go and see if it's in the app. Okay, so here we're in the app. Let's have a look. If we go to routes, waypoint 0, so it's not that one. Okay, so this one has the waypoints now. But it seems a bit of a faff to get waypoints on it. Doing it from the app. That means you've got to go into the app, set it up, then you've got to go to the web to edit it on there, to add the waypoints, to then edit it back. Unless I've got it wrong. But that's what I'm seeing at the moment, because if we choose that one with 0 waypoints, I can't see a way Okay, so that's how we do it inside the app then. You can use this scroll bar across the bottom. So you can add a waypoint there. Can't use that because we haven't got gold. Okay, so I'm going to try and edit this one in here. And we can have a look for some of those dodgy ones that we found. Delete them off. We don't want to be going all the way down there. Okay, we'll leave that on. It'll take us to Glass and Dock. You know what? We're going to change this to satellite view. Can we choose satellite view? Yeah, we can get satellite view. And we can look at Glass and Dock and we can say, right, we're going to add a waypoint. Oh, so we can only add the coordinates. Yeah. Click on it. Let's have a look. Glass and Dock, Buttyvan. Okay, so we've added that one in, and then we can insert a pause there, and let's have a half-hour break, and the Glass and Dock Buttyvan. Cool. Oh. It's added it as number 84. It hasn't added it in turn. Yeah, that's no good, is it? I want to add it as a... Can we move that up? Oh, we can. So you add your waypoint and then drag it. I can't remember what number it was. We need to go back now. And now I've gone back. It's not saved my waypoints. Great stuff. Back. See, did it save it? Edited with phone. Let's go into that one. Okay, I saved it. Okay, we want 37. So we want to make that 52, 38. So if we... show route details, go into the waypoint, find the Gossamer multivan, grab it and drag it up to 37. That should have made it 38. Hide the route details. Go back now. Okay. So we've managed to edit and do it all on the phone. So it is looking better, although it does look like a little bit of a steep learning curve. So now we've got that one in there, I should be able to go all the way back to routes and tracks, edited with phone. I've got 84 waypoints. That'll be distance, not there. Open the route. There we go. So it is all doable via the phone. It is looking a little bit better. And to be fair, it actually looks a little bit better than Garmin's Explorer, which I could never get my head around, and trust me, I deal with loads and loads of software on a daily basis, and I just found that one really finicky. And I've got an edit option here. So now I've got the waypoints. Can you drag? Oh, you can drag them about here, so that's even easier. Okie dokie. Looking like we might be able to have a little bit more fun with MyRoute-app, and it might just work a little bit better than we thought. So that's it for the setting up of that. We've had a look at it now, and looks like we can do a bit more with it than we found out yesterday. So next step is we need to get it set up and get out on a ride. So what I'm going to do is save this one, or one similar, and then I'll do a second video of getting out on a ride. So thanks for joining me and my learning curve and learning along with me. If I can be of any help to anybody, leave a comment as ever, subscribe, comments. There's a wide range of things that I cover on here, and I do 3D printing, and I've not really done any videos about that, and motorbike maintenance and stuff like that, and messing about with tech and things like that. So join me in my journey, right? Get me subs up. Let me achieve my dream of having millions of subscribers so I can travel around the world and get paid off YouTube. Never happened, but everybody's got a dream, right? Okay, so thanks very much. Toodle pip, tatty bye, TTFN. See you again.